name's Leah Salmon, the Naturally You coach, best-selling author, speaker, nutritionist, and life coach for Black women on a mission to help 100,000 Black women to eat for health, think for happiness, and live in harmony by 2020, or what I call becoming naturally you. Thank you so much for joining me today on this Facebook Live, or whether you're watching it live or via replay. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be talking about something a little bit controversial, something that it's taken me a little bit of time to wrap my head around this one, I'll be honest with you, because there are a lot of sides to this discussion. This is not something that I would want to turn into a slanging match or any kind of crazy debate, but it is definitely a topic that I would like to get some I'd like to get your opinion on it. I'm going to be sharing some information, sharing some facts, and I'd like you to comment below. I don't always see the comments coming through as they're coming through live, but if I see the live comments coming through, we can have a chat about it. But if not, even just in the replay, for us to just have a really good conversation about this topic, because like I said, it is a topic that I'm very decided on it in one aspect, but I also think it's something that does need the input of a lot of us to gain clarity on it. Sorry, I'm just doing some sharing this video to my page. I hope everybody is well. I was told it was going to rain today. Our third daughter is now just completely untrusting of the weather forecast, because every single time it says it's going to bucket down, it doesn't bucket down. Today it was meant to bucket down. I was like rushing to get this video together because I thought it was going to bucket down, and it hasn't. So there we go. So I am going to pull up what I need, because I've got all my papers here, got my laptop, look, because I'm going to be reading out some real stuff for you, so you can kind of join in the discussion. So, title of the video: should tampon tax be used to support anti-abortion charities, or should they go to more charities that support Black women? So here's where all of this comes from. I found out a few months ago that tampons get taxed. I mean, I knew that from ages ago, but I knew that tampons get taxed, and which is already a debate in and of itself, because why are things like tampons, that women don't have a choice but to use some form of sanitary napkin or some kind of personal hygiene products during sanitation. We don't have the choice as to whether we are able to use them or not, but they're still getting taxed. So it's not just tampons, it's sanitary towels as well. But the tax on tampon, so things like condoms are not taxed, and there's a choice as to whether you use those or not, more than there's a choice as to whether we use sanitary hygiene products. So that's an annoyance in and of itself. So what actually happened is there was a massive petition that was that got loads of support, saying that the tampons and sanitary products should not be taxed at all. So instead of cancelling the tax on these products, what the government said was, instead of us cancelling the tax, we're going to use the money that we receive in tax from tampons and donate it to charities that help women. That's what they said they were going to do. So the other day they generated £12 million in the tax from these products that they gave out to 70 different charities. Now, of those 70 different charities, one of the charities that got the biggest chunk of money, so charities were given anything between like 100 grand to 200 grand. Some of them were given a little bit less, like 70 grand. Some of them were given up to 300 grand, in fact. But one of them was given £250,000. And that charity was a pro-life charity. So it was a charity that discourages abortion. They are against abortion, even in the case of an abortion being someone becoming pregnant due to a rape. Even in those circumstances, they're still pro-life. They still think that a woman should not be allowed to terminate the life of that child. So that's what they call pro-lifers. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, you've got people who are pro-choice, who believe that a woman's body is a woman's body, and when they become pregnant, they're the ones that decide whether they're going to keep that child or not, taking into consideration everything that they need to take into consideration to make that choice, because the child is growing in their body, the child is still part of their body. So you've got pro-life, pro-choice. So this pro-life charity called Life, who go around to schools, and they've been going around to schools, in fact, I found out, for 40 years, and talking to the students in schools about pro-life, anti-abortion type messages, they got a big chunk of this money. Now, that decision to give them $250,000 was quite controversial, and here's why. I'm actually going to read from an article, because there's an article in the BBC News that speaks about this in a lot more detail. So, Stella Creasy, MP for Walthamstow, said this fund was supposed to help women, not encourage those organisations who want to control them. Completely unacceptable and must be stopped. So bear in mind, the money that is made from the tampon tax comes from every woman who buys tampons. So even if you are pro-choice, your money, the tax that you've paid on the tampons that you have to buy, or the sanitary products you have to buy, because it's just part of our lives, some of that money is going to support, without our consultation, without consulting us, it's going to support an organisation that says that you shouldn't have a choice as to what you decide to do when you have a baby. She tweeted, so this is the same MP for Walthamstow, she tweeted the government minister, Rob Wilson, who made the announcement. And here's my other annoyance with this whole situation. A lot of pro-life or pro-choice decisions in government are normally made by men, which makes no sense to me. Even though there's been advancements in, the rights of women and what we're able to do and equality and all these kind of things, when it comes to governmental decisions that affect us more than anybody else, or affect us exclusively, those decisions are still made by men. It doesn't make any sense. Because then it just seems like it's lip service. It just seems like it's what politicians are saying, or it's just little piecemeal things that are being done to get back on women's side. But the actual crux of it, the actual proof of the pudding, would be who actually gets to make the decisions as to what happens in our lives. Sorry, government are here to... Sorry. Hey, my sister commented saying the government is here to confuse us and do not care. Absolutely, my sister. I hope I see you next weekend, my love, or in a few weeks when we're linking up. Don't try and get me drunk. My sister always tries to get me drunk, so don't try and get me drunk, love. Okay. This same minister tweeted to the government minister, Rob Wilson, who made the announcement. Hey, Rob Wilson, can you please cut the funding to pro-life organisations and help ensure no woman goes without tampons in school instead, please? So this is the thing. I think without the emotion of hearing this news in the first place, people would probably make slightly more well thought out statements. Or maybe she did fully make this statement, but it's not necessarily that we're trying to say that no funding should be given to those organisations, because there are, like I said, there's a list of 70 different organisations that the money went to. The problem is there was no consultation given. I don't even buy tampons, but there was no consultation given. There was the choice that was made as to where this money was going wasn't made in a strategic way. It wasn't made in a thoughtful way, basically. It goes on to say, the article goes on to say, Labour Shadow MP for Women and Equalities, Paula Sheriff, said it was bitterly ironic to many women to be taxed for their biology. And you see, that just goes back to the whole thing of, why do we have to pay tax on something we have to use based on our biology, but men don't have to get taxed to buy condoms, which is a complete choice, that whether they get to use it or not. Only for the government to hand over that money to organisations that don't even believe we should have control over our own bodies. Sophie Walker, leader of the Women's Equality Party, said it was a shock to learn the government had used the money to support an anti-choice charity which aimed to make abortion a thing of the past. She said the party sorry, she said, the party appreciated the work of Life. So, okay, let me just dial back a little bit. The organisation Life, this charity Life, the pro-life charity, they don't just go around saying stop having abortions, you're evil for having abortions. That's part of the work that they do. It is a big part of the work that they do, but it's part of the work that they do. They also support women who have chosen to keep their child and now face homelessness. They do help support a lot of the repercussions of a woman deciding not to have an abortion. They do that. They do a lot of work. But we are disappointed, this is Sophie Walker, we are disappointed to see that the allocation of such significant funds to this one charity, while many other charities struggle, particularly those supporting BAME, and this is one of my biggest gripes at the moment, Black, Asian and minority ethnic women and disabled women who experience some of the highest rates of violence amongst them, against them, and yet consistently are at the bottom of the list for funding. So when I looked through the list of the 70 organisations who are receiving this funding, a lot of them are general organisations. And when you look at the statistics for abortion, for example, we, as Black women, we make up roughly 3.3% of the population of the UK. And this funding is all for the UK. So, but as far as abortion statistics are concerned, we make up 9% of the women who have abortions. It's also most likely that Black women will have repeat abortions. But through this list, there was only one organisation who came out to specifically support Black and Asian women. And actually, when you look at all the imagery and you actually look through their site, it does look like they predominantly support Asian women, which is all good. But basically, of all of this funding that's being generated, a substantial chunk of it is going to a pro-life organisation who is anti-abortion. But there's no charity that's been highlighted and given funding, just like the Sophie Walker said, that specifically is targeted at the needs of Black women. That's specifically targeted at the needs of the group of women who are most likely to have an abortion and are most likely to have more than one abortion. Now, as far as abortion goes, I am pro-choice. I do 100% agree that a woman should be able to choose what happens when she has a baby. However, what I'm also very much supportive of is the education and mental emotional support of Black women throughout their lives. So when they get to the stage where they become pregnant, they're in a better mental, emotional and physical condition to make those choices in the first place, because there's not enough support around that. Now, if a woman has made that decision and she does have that blanket of support around her, then that's absolutely fine. But a lot of women, a lot of Black women and a lot of Black girls in particular are making this decision in a vacuum of confusion, in a situation where they don't have enough support around them to be able to make a conscious decision as to what is best for their lives. And that is the real annoyance, is that, again, this is another example of the government making decisions based on almost looking after those who are most visible. And because even though we only make up a small proportion of the population, it was off our backs that this country was built in the first place. And we've continued to support this country continually, yet our needs are still not fully being catered towards. And when people, talk about, oh, let's all come together, let's all be one, let's stop all this separatism, today is the LGBT Pride Festival, and the amount of support that has been given most recently has been brilliant. Every time you open a newspaper, they've got the flag. Facebook have got the little flag as one of your emoticons. So supporting the LGBT movement has now become cool. That's now become okay. Nobody complains that, oh, we're trying to separate and blah, 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 because they do have unique needs. And it's brilliant that their unique needs are being catered for. But when it comes to a discussion about black people and our specific needs, there is always this thing of, oh, you're being a bit racist, and then the reverse racism thing comes out, and oh, why can't we just all get together, and well, there's other organizations that cater for women in general, so why don't you just access them? Because again, we have unique specific needs, so we are unique and specific needs as black women should be catered for and should be supported by the tax that's been generated from us buying the tampons that you're then using to distribute to a load of other organizations. So that's my view on the situation, and what I would love is for you to share your view on the situation. Let me know what you think. Let me know whether you think it's okay that a portion of this money is being given to a pro-life organization. Let me know how you feel about the fact that of the whole list of 70 organizations that's benefiting from this money, there's only one that half supports black women, but black women are the ones who make up 9% of the people who are having abortions, and we're more likely to have repeat abortions. And the pro-life charity that's anti-abortion doesn't seem to have anything specific for black women either. So I'd love to hear your comments and your views on this below. Please don't turn this into a slagging match. This discussion needs to go a bit beyond whether you're pro-life or whether you're pro-choice, even though that's obviously going to influence the comment that you make. But let's have a broader conversation about the allocation of these tampon funds, because again, I don't think we should be taxed for them in the first place, but this was the government's, I guess, half-assed attempt of still being able to keep some of the money, because I'm pretty darn sure of all the tax money that came in, they didn't benefit off some of it, that they gave it all back to charities. So this was their way of being able to hold on to that tax but give some of it away to other organizations that are going to support women that the money came from in the first place. So I'd love to hear your comments and your suggestions below. Please keep them friendly, please keep them respectful. This has been Leah Salmon, the Naturally You Coach. Thank you for watching this Facebook Live video. You can find me all over the web at the Naturally You Coach, Natural You Coach, or at thenaturallyyoucoach.com. I think the sun's getting to me. I need to go and top up my tan, speaking of which, before the rain really does come. I look forward to hearing from you all soon. Take care and stay healthy.